guys, welcome to Critical Hit. I'm Kyle.
I'm Matthew.
I'm David.
And today we're talking about Marvel and Netflix's Daredevil. Alright, get out of here, you. So Daredevil tells the story of Matt Murdock, a young boy who was blinded but managed to get superpowers from the incident, which heightened his other senses, and who, through years of training, learned to be a successful crime fighter. He, by day, an adult Matt Murdock is...
he fights crime by day.
He does fight crime by day.
He fights crime.
He kind of wants to fight crime, but he actually doesn't do anything.
He tries really hard.
Nobody wants him to fight crime by day.
By day, he is a very unsuccessful lawyer. But he's getting there. He's partnered with his friend Foggy at Nelson and Murdoch.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the story about how they're trying to deal with threats in their city. And at the same time, it's a story about the rise of a criminal known as... actually, whose name is pretty much shadowed most of the time, but who we later find out
be named.
Who we later find out to be Wilson Fisk.
He kind of looks like a larger Voldemort, actually.
He is.
He really is a Voldemort, though. People just die if they say his name.
So we have a story which is telling us about the rise of a hero and the rise of a villain at the same time, and honestly, for me, it's one of the best things I think that Marvel's done, and one of the best things, probably the best thing that Netflix has done, in my opinion.
Oh, really?
And yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I know.
I know. That makes me.
Yeah.
I don't know how House of Cards.
The House of Cards thing is in my head right now.
I know. We can go. We can go around later.
I think I'd agree that this show is incredible.
It's really good.
I have been keeping up with like every superhero show out there right now.
Right.
Except for like Gotham, because I just gave up. But even
so you're
like
still
even,
keeping up with every superhero show out there.
Yeah. But even like Agents of Shield, it's my official like. I call it my dishwasher show, so if I'm doing the dishes, I put Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. on my laptop because I can just ignore it and clean things and be like, oh, okay, that's interesting.
Well,
when I care.
The thing is, you have to clean something while you're watching because you feel dirty watching
it. But the thing is about this show is that it just grabs you and you just get stuck in it. You get so focused on watching every episode that you cannot even like look at your phone, you can't even look away. It draws you in so well.
It is built for you to like watch that episode and then go more.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, it's very much that actually kind of like the Game of Thrones school. Of the ending cliffhanger that makes you want to keep watching.
But at the same time, the show does a really good job of it because it's Netflix, so you can watch more, and you just have that horrible, depressing moment at the end where you're like, oh, I have to wait a year for the next season.
And we're seeing that people want this because everybody, social media just exploded. Wanting more and more and more about Daredevil, and it even overshadowed the praise of Game of Thrones, which returned the same weekend.
That's a brave,
which is a really big, that's a big thing.
And for me, like one of the biggest things though is that comparing it to all the other shows, comparing it to Flash, comparing it to Arrow, comparing it to Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., even I would say Peggy Carter, Daredevil is just like on a whole other level. It's not just because it's like gritty. Like I don't need those shows to be gritty per se.
No.
But Daredevil understands its character, understands its world so well, and it continues to tell a superhero story in a new way. And it really puts all the other shows to shame, I would say.
I would say that Peggy's another one that really knows who it is, but there's something different
it's
about
good.
how they focused on that.
Yeah.
Well, for me, I really love Peggy Carter. From what it sounds, probably more than you two did, but
I like it.
But for me, it's a lot different than Daredevil. I put them about on the same level in this sort of
quality-wise.
Sort of apples and oranges way.
No, that's fair.
But especially talking about Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., which Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. kind of short update. It got good, but then kind of started to suck again.
Yeah.
Basically, whereas Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. took so long to even get good, and there it had to be connected to Captain America.
Yeah.
Whereas Daredevil is actually just fantastic.
It hit the ground running.
Well, here's the thing, it is fantastic on its own. Well, it's also still part of the Marvel Universe. Like you have Ben Urich, who wrote an article on the New York attack from Avengers.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right, and so it's weird because Daredevil's in its own universe, kind of in Hell's Kitchen. But at the same time, it does a way better job of interacting with the Marvel Universe than Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. does. And the whole point of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is let's go globetrotting and follow the movies wherever they go.
Yeah.
And so it's really it really puts that show especially to shame because Daredevil's like, no, we understand we're in the Marvel Universe, we're going to tell our own story, and the rest of the Marvel Universe needs to keep up with us now.
Yeah.
Where Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.'s always trying to keep up with everybody else.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Failing.
And failing miserably. Like, it's just, Daredevil is on a whole nother level, and I haven't seen any show reach it yet.
No.
And it's really going to, I hope it really changes how people have to deal with making superhero TV shows.
I really, really like this show, and it is better than the other stuff we've seen out there. It's doing what Gotham promised it would.
Yes, it's because Gotham's like, we're going to be real and gritty and crime drama, but you watch Gotham and you're like,
The Balloon Man's
Yeah,
here.
we will. Our balloon villains will be realistic.
It's like a crime drama for children. It's a really weird it wants to have
So
like
we took the Silver Age and we tried to make it really dark and really gritty.
We're gonna make things dark and gritty and violent, but it's gonna be family safe.
Our villains
family friendly.
And
Daredevil just breaks bones. Guy gets killed by a car door. Like it's really like it feels real.
It uses the Netflix
violent.
format well because it's able to get away with more.
Yeah.
So and it uses that.
It does.
Yeah.
It did a fantastic job with that. I think that the series did a good job on several levels. I mean, it looks good, it feels good.
Oh yeah.
But the character work is, I think, where it really shines. And this is something that you get from the Daredevil comics, where it's not all about Matt.
Yeah.
You have a variety of characters going on, villain and hero alike, who are interesting, intriguing, and who can kind of hold the focus of an entire issue or of an entire episode all on their own.
The side character work is incredible in this show.
It's fantastic, and you get a lot of that in Daredevil, especially when you had Frank Miller come on the scene and take over, and he really worked with characters like Stick and with Foggy and made them interesting.
Yeah.
And then characters like Ben Urich, who can hold the entire narrative all by himself.
Well, and that works so well for what they're doing with Daredevil, because Daredevil is about the small. It's not about the big picture.
No,
the same
it's
way
about
the movies are, or what Agents of
This
S.H.I.E.L.D.
isn't Guardians of the Galaxy Save the Galaxy.
Exactly.
This isn't New York.
It's about a like a 30-block neighborhood in New York.
It's
I love
Hell's
that.
Kitchen.
I love
that
that matters to these characters. I love how alive it feels. How there's actually this connection with this small, intimate space.
Yeah.
And that just constantly is hitting home on that. It works well. It's similar to the way with a good Batman story with This Is My City, This Is Gotham.
Yeah.
But it's even more intimate than that,
well,
I think.
and again, to compare it to another show, like Arrow has all these minor characters that show up in the show and are a huge part of the plot during the TV series. But at the same time, some of them just are so two-dimensional. And some of them only have like this one thing about them. Like Roy, oh my gosh, I killed a cop. Like that's like his story. His entire story could be summarized by that. Whereas you get someone like Foggy or Karen, right? Karen?
Yes.
Yeah, you get someone like Karen, and as soon as you meet her, you're just like, this is an incredibly interesting and powerful person who can make a difference in their world, even though like they seem like they shouldn't. And I don't know, like the character work is so good that you end up knowing and caring about, like one time we were watching the show and we were joking that we want, like, screw this, we want a Foggy series.
Yes,
like,
because you do.
Because he's awesome.
Because you watch the episode, and there are a couple of episodes where they allow Matt to actually fall into the background. Yeah. And they focus on what Foggy and Karen are doing. Yeah. And how they're fighting
and they're making a difference, and it's really it's not like you don't feel like the show is like condescending to them.
No, like
they're good characters.
They're
fantastic.
And just the character work of everyone, even like the Kingpin or Fisk's right-hand man, he's awesome. Wesley, right?
Yeah,
Wesley is like this legitimately amazing like soldier. Who I don't know. Like,
and
there's all these
he reminded me of from House of Cards of Stamper.
Exactly.
Very much like that.
Yeah, he gets the work done.
But but actually, speaking of William Fisk, like one
Wilson.
problem. Yeah, kind of destroy the what I'm about to say. One problem that the Marvel universe has always actually had is it's had trouble making really compelling villains a lot of the time. Like honestly, I mean they have 10 movies roughly, then 2 TV series,
Well,
and the
3 TV series now.
Well, I'm getting to that. Okay. But there's only really been one villain who's really had a lot of longevity, and that's Loki.
That's Loki.
And that's actually that's kind of sad. But
he's the only one that's
because
mattered.
we kill all of our Iron Man villains. We get rid of Ronan. We get rid of freaking Red Skull.
And Thanos is way too far back there for anyone to care about him.
But this show changed that, because I think that Fisk / Kingpin is a fantastic villain. He really makes the series for me.
He almost leads the show. Like his character arc is such a huge asset of the story. Like one time, Kyle, we were talking about this, and you said, and I just want to repeat because it's so good.
Go for it.
It's the show is not just the rise of a hero, but a rise of a villain. Like you watch both Murdoch and Fisk be at one level where they're not quite satisfied, and they become these larger than life people together.
Well, and
they're working their way up to becoming their comic book archetype.
Well, and that's the thing with Fisk is because I mean my prior exposure, I saw the Ben Affleck Daredevil movie, I saw the Spider-Man animated series, so I was expecting him to just be this really sort of stereotypical,
thug,
big angry thug. But I mean, just the way we portray him is like, you know, he stays very hidden in his ordinary routine, and even though part of that is for crime reasons, I mean, you kind of get the impression it's partially because he just doesn't like dealing with people.
Yeah,
and that's what he is. He's very awkward around people, and that's very unique for
a villain,
for a mob boss.
It is
you know?
it is fascinating, and I did. Let me just say this up front. I love what they did with the character in this show. I thought he worked perfectly for the world. He is not at all what I expected from Kingpin.
Yeah,
I was one of those kids, grew up looking at the 90s Spider-Man and watching the Kingpin be this kind of eloquent, very hoity-toity sort of fellow with the white suits and everything.
Yeah, he always wore white from what I remember.
Always wore the white suits.
The show didn't do that.
Right.
Yeah.
And you even remember them talking about the one guy who walked in and offered to buy all the paintings. Vanessa was telling him about this. It was kind of a reference to his comic book character with the ascot and everything. And
oh, that's funny.
Yeah,
that's really funny.
It was kind of hilarious, kind of contrasting what they could have done.
Do you think
with
it
what they
very
chose to do.
Like dramatically?
I think that honestly, Wilson always seems to keep it together in comics, and even though he's got this seething anger, and when he lets it out, there's like one scene in Born Again with the Frank Miller classic, and this guy goes off on him about something about how he's been off his game since something happened with Vanessa. Sorry about the spoilers. And what he does is the guy starts freaking out, realizing, oh no, I brought that subject up. I'm not supposed to talk about her.
Yeah.
And Kingpin, and he starts apologizing to him. And he's like, now, it's completely fine. He reaches over, snaps the dude's neck in the middle of this meeting that they're all having.
Yeah.
It's like, I think we all understand each other now.
Yeah.
And he hasn't like...
It's not like a threat. He's like a gentleman.
He's
like
being gentlemanly the whole time.
Yeah.
But it's
like
so ferocious. And
yeah.
I feel like he seems... They made him a little bit impotent in this.
Well, yeah. I mean, he's kind of so like I said, he's very uncomfortable. I mean, a big part of his arc is sort of like you're seeing like a romantic story where you have this really kind of aloof, uncomfortable guy, you know, romancing this much more practical, art, art store owner. And it's just,
and it was good.
I mean, it's funny.
Really
take out the background. It's almost like a quirky romantic comedy, almost.
Yeah.
And it really, it just
bad wacky Fisk.
It humanizes him.
What happens when an artist loves a gangster?
It really humanizes him, and it makes you care about him. But it really does. Like I was kind of cheering for him as the whole thing progressed.
Yeah, admittedly, I did the same. I think
you wanted their relationship to work, even though
didn't want him
really
to.
Bad.
Yeah,
like I don't know.
You didn't want him to win, but in this instance, you really wanted him to succeed.
And like you see it also in other instances, like when he talks to Gao and the other criminal lords. You can tell that he doesn't want to disappoint them.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
He gets hurt when she, especially her, when she critiques the way he's doing things. You can see it in his eyes, and it's so interesting because I don't know. It's weird to have like an emotional villain.
He's kind of I mean, he's like a few steps away from being kind of a man child. Like I mean,
and that was a part of my problem is that he did get to be baby man a couple of times there.
You embarrassed me!
You embarrassed me! Smash, your head is gone.
Yeah.
Or, my mother! And he just... I don't know. It worked. In the show, it works. It's great. It's a little...
The thing that I liked is even in those contexts, though, it's still actually control. Like notice with both of those, he doesn't do it in such a way where it harms himself. Like in the case of where he decapitates the guy with the car door.
He waits.
He waits, and he also uses the body as part of a later plot.
Yeah, he does, and it's a really clever plot.
Yeah, he is careful.
Yeah.
It's just, I guess, it almost felt so over the top in those points for me that it just didn't resonate with the Kingpin that I knew from other versions that I'd seen on screen or in the comics.
I agree that definitely from what I've read of comics too, that he varies from that. But I think for me, it's one of the few instances where that creativity I would applaud. I would say the direction they went with him is fantastic.
Honestly, I wouldn't have, were I making this series, I wouldn't have ended with him actually being arrested.
Yeah.
Though that last scene was perfect with him staring at the wall.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. But it was so freaking good. But I would have maybe had something happen, take down a lieutenant, a minor bad guy or something, and have Fisk still be out there.
Yeah.
That way you could almost have a success for both the hero and the villain.
Frankly, even the making Fisk, taking Fisk from being the perfect savior of Hell's Kitchen the show presents him to be. Yeah. And just revealing him to be the villain that he is, that's a victory enough for me. That would have been a victory enough. I don't know. There's a lot of problems I have with that last episode.
He just seems to be becoming more and more the comic book self that that we've seen, and I just wish that we might have had a little bit more of that. Though I think that we're getting a hint of a promise in that last little scene with him in the prison cell.
Well, I mean, this is kind of an origin story for him because I mean, he starts the series very legitimately wanting to save Hell's Kitchen.
He does, and I think that's a big deal. And well, even this show does so many. It does great things with the characters. It does great things in just taking new directions that you haven't really seen in so many superhero things and doing them well. This is the first time we see religion really being done. Yeah. And being done well.
And respected.
The conversation with the Catholic priest, they're very like genuine in that they're things I could believe, an actual Catholic priest saying, and but they're not too polarizing really in any direction.
No, they're not.
And they always do a good job of moving Matt Murdock's character along.
Yeah, it does a great job.
They just hit on all the levels that you would
because that's the kind of emotion with that religious background for Matt. That's what he responds to, and those meetings tend to propel him forward.
He's the Catholic superhero.
Yeah, he is.
Really is though. But it never felt like
he's the disabled superhero. He's the Catholic superhero. It's really interesting seeing them play these different kinds of.
I don't know. It never was like presented as like religion, be religious because he's religious. It was just presented as
because the thing is even for Matt Murdock, and this is an interesting part of his character. It's not like his religion is something that immediately makes him good. Like he has a really complex relationship with it too.
No, he struggles a lot. He's very much the poster child for Catholic guilt.
Yeah.
What's going on?
No, definitely. But you watch how in a story where in this universe I'd expect either the priest to be in Fist's pocket for some reason, or to be because he's in Hell's Kitchen. You could there's a lot of storylines you can make of this person just being a bad person with a collar on. But the show does a really good job of just showing how him and people like Foggy, even like Murdock during the day are just these like Joe Schmoes in this horrible area that are doing their best to make things better. Like the day-to-day life commitment to making this horrible place better and worth living in is just awesome. And the show never disrespects religion, I would say.
No, but there's so many other kinds of diversity going on here because you get blind characters, you get you get like the female characters with the sort of little bit more seedy backgrounds there that we're not going into, but that's changed. And we're what you also have with Melvin Potter, you have someone who has legitimate mental disabilities.
Mm-hmm. That's the guy that makes the armor, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
And who in the comic books is a character known as Gladiator.
Okay.
And but it's just they do a really good job with all of these different facets, and I don't know. I just think the character work is one of the places that shines.
I definitely say the strength of the show. Even like there are situations where like the character Karyn would get in situations, and you're just like, oh great, she needs to be rescued by Daredevil. Because like I've watched every other superhero show, and this is what happens: the female character gets grabbed, attacked, kidnapped, and she kicks ass. Mm-hmm. Like she kills a guy. Like she's incredible in like I don't know. They give her so much power that I have assumed as a viewer that she wouldn't get.
There was some backlash by a couple of sources saying, this show does great with male characters, but not so well with female characters.
Oh, I completely disagree with that.
I completely disagree where Karyn's concerned, and I think that there's a mistake where Claire's concerned, because, she has ties to the Luke Cage storyline.
Yeah, so Claire, Rosario Dawson's character, she disappears. She's interesting at first, then she gets less interesting, and then she disappears.
She just comes and goes, it's weird.
Yeah, but I think that that's partially because they're trying to have her tie into the next Netflix series.
Yeah,
but they could have handled her better. Even
maybe they could have done less of a romance thing.
But especially with Karyn's character, the strength of that individual and the choices she goes through, I just would not, you couldn't do that on Arrow. You couldn't do that on The Flash.
No.
The female characters in those shows, they get kidnapped. She gets kidnapped, and she finds her own ways to deal with that problem.
In this episode of Critical Hit, Matt also lets out all his frustrations about all superhero shows.
Because I didn't realize, I've had frustrations before, but Daredevil really shows how poorly everyone's done compared to it. Mm-hmm. And maybe that's just Netflix budgets is amazing, but look at the fight scenes alone.
Look at the budget is amazing.
If you haven't seen the hallway fight scene from episode 2, that alone would make you watch the show.
It's a real-time fight scene that occurs in a hallway, but with a very winded Daredevil and just this group of thugs who've kidnapped a kid.
But it's not.
And it is one of the best fights
I completely
that I have ever seen in any superhero movie, show.
In any almost any fight scene ever. It's just, especially for superheroes, especially for TV shows. Not only is the choreography superb.
The fight choreography is great. The cinematography
Yeah,
is
the way the
fantastic.
camera tells the story of that fight is incredible. It draws you in. It makes you feel like you're in Hell's Kitchen, leaning out of your apartment window and seeing this happen. Because you don't see everything. You hear it, but you don't see every fight scene. And it's interesting because it kind of is like, it kind of gives you that, it's what Daredevil's like. Because he can sense everything around him, but he can't see it. So you get to hear fights. You get to see people go flying, and you get to see really good fights when they are in the hallway.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
But you have to also use, you get to hear and imagine what's going on elsewhere.
You're right. There's a little bit of a meta activity going on
Exactly,
there.
and it's so clever. And you
It
go
is.
and you watch that, and you go and you watch like
And it's,
freaking
you know,
Arrow.
it's
It's
a
like
freaking-
I have a bow, smack, 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 smack.
It's a microcosm for the series as a whole,
Yeah.
which is focusing on that very intimate space of
Yeah.
Daredevil in Hell's Kitchen, and you get that with these fight scenes that are so
Yeah.
perfectly choreographed to attack actually a human body in detailed ways,
Yeah.
and having a person respond accordingly.
And they aren't fight scene for
in
fight
small
scenes.
spaces.
The fight scenes tell stories. That's the thing that I care about the most. Is that they are using action to convey experiences of people.
Right.
You understand characters by the way that they fight. Even in that hallway scene, this is an incredible moment where, like, if you watch any kung fu movie, someone gets punched in the jaw, they go down, and they're out for the fight, and then more people come flying in. In that hallway scene, the best part about it is,
people get up.
Daredevil nails people, they go falling, and then they get up, and he has to, oh great, I have to knock him down again. And it's just like, it felt
And
real.
he's tripping over the bodies
And you could just,
stuff.
yeah, like the action told the story of the characters, and
It's
it made you get in that scene, and it made you not be able to focus on anything else besides what it would be like to be trapped in that fight.
It was.
It's incredible.
It's a really, really great scene, but you
Yeah.
get more of those fights. There's a ton of violence. This really takes it to an R rating.
It's
So
really
far as Marvel,
graphic. It is
it's
incredibly graphic.
There were we were watching this as a group, and we see this guy basically impale himself on this spike at one point.
Oh yeah, I forgot.
Yeah.
Our first thought after is basically somewhere out in outer space right now there is a tree and a talking raccoon
And Howard the
having
Duck.
adventures, and Howard the Duck exists in the same universe
It's certainly
as all of this.
it's certainly darker than anything Marvel's done, and I get that Marvel distanced itself from darkness because The Dark Knight came out, and you didn't want to look like you're copying DC.
Well, there were like 3 or 4 years where like every superhero movie had to be dark.
Yeah.
And Marvel changed
And
that.
Marvel changed that, and now it's bringing that darkness in a way that, yes, it is reminiscent of those Batman movies, but it's still really unique and really strong.
Right. No, we're doing a
Yeah.
really good thing here, and I think that we've got the show. It's tapped into a couple of things, both the superhero success, but also kind of the staples of serialized television with things like what do you call it? The crime drama or the legal drama, and you get both of those with the character of Matt alone. But it does this, and we start with a show that could easily be like, if it was a really well budgeted and well done TNT crime drama kind of thing, and it progresses as we go till that and you see this with the costuming, which is phenomenal. We see him start out with that kind of very basic black costume, with
the black mask
with the
over
mask
his
covering
eyes,
over his face, and the what was it? It's a Ramada one, I think, right? Yeah. Okay. From the comics. But anyways,
it's an older
you
one.
see that him start out with that, and he doesn't actually get the suit until like the very last episodes. And
literally the last episode.
When he puts that on, it's transitioned from that TNT crime drama to superhero origin.
And that's the same movie where Fisk becomes like the
Where
true
Fisk
Fisk
villain.
becomes Kingpin. Which is
Yeah.
interesting because for me, that was actually my least favorite part of the series.
Really?
Because that last episode, it even, like, everything about it kind of changed from the rest of the series. Like, so the rest of the series built, like, this dark grittiness where Fisk is untouchable. Fisk is untouchable is, like, the major message.
Sure.
And then in the last episode, not only is he touchable, they throw him in freaking jail. Like, everything is dismantled, and it's so frustrating because I'm like, I wanted to see how do you deal with untouchable people, and you get to, like, chip away point by point by point. Like you said, it would have been nice if a minor a servant of Kingpin got thrown in jail, or Kingpin
we
was...
saw with like the sniper in the background there. He had that ace patch. We knew that meant
Bullseye.
it was Bullseye.
And
So you could have had someone like that.
This is still a superhero.
It is
story,
still
so
superhero,
it had to get there.
But man, I was just...
Well,
I love this grittiness, I love this seriousness, and then there's this one scene where Daredevil stands up on the roof, and then the generic superhero music starts playing, and I was like,
I liked it.
I didn't! And I love superheroes, but I was like, the show tried to be new and different, and I think it succeeded.
Mhm.
Because that last episode, it came back, and I wanted to keep going.
I think that helped to cement it in the Marvel universe as a whole. Though.
And part of the thing is,
that-
I actually just seeing how well they did it with this season, I have enough faith, and I think they'll keep it. They'll keep that.
They'll keep that.
They're not going to abandon. They're not going to abandon.
I have absolute faith.
No,
in
here's
that,
what's
because-
happening. With that last episode,
Mhm.
Daredevil has cemented itself within the rest of the Marvel world by
Yeah.
having very similar themes to it. Now,
Yeah.
what that show is going to do is it's going to tug that world along with it forward into this new direction that it's taken.
It's certainly one of the better things I've seen happen for the Marvel Universe at this time, and it makes me excited again for future projects. I'm
excited because we have the Netflix is doing a series of other shows that are coming out with the that's going to lead up into their Defenders crossover, and that's going to be Jessica Jones,
Jessica Jones, Luke
Jessica
Cage,
Jones, Luke Cage, and
Iron
then
Fist.
the Immortal Iron Fist.
Yeah.
Which are all fantastic characters who are going to intersect really well.
And not only that, like I said before, this show for me, the big takeaway is that it understands it's part of the Marvel Universe, and it's encouraging the Marvel Universe to continue to be excellent.
Yes.
To go in a new direction. And while you said at the end, yes, I will agree with you, that it is still going to be a part of that universe. By donning the mask, by playing the music, by jumping on the bad guys, it'll still join the universe, but it's going to say to it is a benefit to Marvel to have this. And it only is going to make other projects like Avengers better.
Mhm.
Because this is only because they're in the same universe.
Exists.
Because it exists.
This honestly, if they would allow it to, this is the kind of thing that could pull Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. out of the hole that it's gotten itself into.
Absolutely.
But I doubt that they want to take that direction, so hey.
So, I mean, for me, like I said, the show's phenomenal. Absolutely watch it. If you're a fan of superhero shows, maybe don't watch it if you want to still watch the other superhero shows. Because
is it going to be hard going back to Flash?
I don't know, dude. I haven't watched Flash in like 2 weeks because every time I sit down, I'm like, I could watch Flash or I could rewatch Daredevil, and I love the Flash, but it's like, I don't know. Anyways,
how do you feel about rewatch value on this show?
I think it's absolutely rewatchable.
I think that and the plot's actually at times it gets pretty convoluted, and that's actually the one.
So maybe one rewatch is a good thing.
The one flaw I have, yes. I think actually rewatching it.
I think it's absolutely.
It make it easier to follow, and I think there is actually rewatchability.
It's much more cinematic than episodic. So you're not going to get caught up in this episode. It's all about this minor villain.
Well, there's no wasted episode.
No, there really isn't.
So anyways, I would just say if you like superheroes, watch Daredevil. If you've never heard of Daredevil, watch it and love it. Watch it if only for how you tell stories through combat.
Yeah,
it's incredible.
And I mean, if you like crime drama, watch it. I mean,
if you watch this and you want more Daredevil, I would say go ahead, pick up the Bendis Daredevil or pick up Frank Miller's Daredevil.
Definitely the Frank Miller one.
Born Again is a really good one. These are just honestly, his stuff is comic book classic. And
and for me, it gets me so excited for what's next.
Yes.
I'm always gonna be excited for Avengers 2, but after watching this, I'm like, okay, I'm back in the Marvel world. I'm back and I'm ready for how big that's
what's next.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I'm actually, I think that's what we're doing next. Is Avengers 2.
Yeah, we're gonna do Avengers 2.
Okay, so
hopefully we'll get another good villain.
Hopefully we. You know what? Hopefully. I think he's got it. I honestly believe.
I mean, he's basically Robot Pinocchio. So how can you go wrong with that?
Robo-Nokio.
I have no strings on me.
But it looks really good. I don't think it's going to be too big for itself.
Yeah.
But
it has a lot of characters.
It does have a lot of characters, but
whatever. We'll
I trust you, Joss Whedon. I trust you. You brilliant, beautiful man.
So I think
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
But he handed it off.
Yeah, that was his problem. So, anyways, for me, I'm super excited for that movie. I'm super excited for more Netflix series. There needs to be more now.
Yes.
After Daredevil, they've proven that they can make more excellent Marvel shows that are going to make Marvel.
I'm actually wanting to see other I'm wanting to see Hulu and Amazon Prime step it up. They need to make some shows that are worth watching.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Really, competition, guys.
Yeah,
Don't let Netflix
Come on,
get
guys.
lazy.
Don't let them win.
So.
Yeah.
Even PlayStation's doing a comic-based
they're doing
series.
Powers.
Yeah.
I haven't seen that yet, but I'm really curious about it.
No, there's a lot going on right now, and I'm just excited for what's coming next.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, next time we're going to be doing
Avengers
2.
Avengers 2. So
definitely join us for that.
Yeah, that's going to be awesome. Okay. Catch you later, guys.
Cool.
Take care.